We've got a very special unboxing and impressions here of the perfume by Roberto Greco, knows none other than the Christopher Sheldrake, Rauque. Now I came across this, I think from an Instagram post. Somebody had posted that they continue to do fantastic work and was mega impressed. Someone who I think said they didn't buy a lot of perfume anymore, but this one was blowing them away. Someone very experienced. The previous releases, which go as far back as, 2017, totally went over my head. But if you haven't heard already, Roberto Greco is a photographer, especially doing photographic projects with and for fragrance. And he's now released 3 l'objet parfumant, object perfumes that coincide with exhibitions and bodies of photographic work. He's released fragrances. These are limited edition. Very happy to say I got 100 out of 500. Cool little number there. As far as I know, the first one, Oeilleres, is more or less sold out. I can't find it anywhere. Porte Sa Peau is still in stock, as well as this newest release. In the US, it's available on Lucky Scent, and in Europe, I've seen it on Javoy, and I'm not sure where else. Those are the only 2 places I've seen it. So the cool thing is at Lucky Scent, so I first tried it at Scent Bar. I tried a spray. Actually, I tried several sprays. So I always feel like you have to, I really wanted to wear it, thinking I wouldn't get much chance to sample it. And first off, I almost regretted it because I spent the rest of the day smelling pretty funky. It's pretty strong, and I think I oversprayed there at Scent Bar. And then later I saw that Lucky Scent has samples of all 3, including the one they're sold out of. So I actually ordered this here candle, and for my 3 free samples, I asked for the 3 Roberto Greco. So I got to wear this a few more times and sample it before taking the plunge. So first we'll start by reminding myself of these 3. This is, people are struggling with this. I'm not French, but I took several years of French. I might not be doing it perfectly either, but the OEI is more like a œil, like there's a, what is it, Ravel? Ma mère a l'œil. And I think it means, it's a word related to eyes, and the word means blinders, so something that covers the eyes. So Oeilleres is my best attempt. This and Rauque, I would say, have a decent amount in common. They're both very kind of horse stably. Again, blinders are something that horses, that they put on horses to keep them from getting scared or distracted. They're both animalic, they're both complex, they're both a little vintagey smelling. So I almost feel like if you have FOMO about this one, which is hard or impossible to find. Now I do remember Javoy had like a special edition still in stock, but it was like $800. I think it came with a book or maybe an artwork. But if you have kind of FOMO about this, I think you should definitely try this. Try Rauque, the newer release. They're definitely not the same. So I've put a little on now. Oh yeah, the opening is really nice. There's something very fresh, almost camp forest. Immediately recalls kind of the outdoors or farmland. Notes include eucalyptus, which I think is giving that brightness at top. Broom, chamomile, lavender, cumin, hay, musk, styrax. So yeah, I'm getting lavender, I'm getting the outdoorsiness, herbaceousness. I think the color of the bottle is kind of this golden brown, almost the color of the juice too. I guess the color of the bottle is from the color of the juice. And it really smells like that, like golden, hay, like dusk, sunshine. I feel like J.J. Colborn when I say agrestic. That's a word he uses a lot, but I can't help myself from describing this as agrestic. It's really beautiful, a little vintagey. I don't get too much skanky animalics and the cumin. But yeah, really nice, really lovely, very natural. I'm trying to think what it maybe reminds me a little of Mem by Vogue, but not nearly as difficult or kind of stinky animalic as that one. But I'm really liking the opening right now, actually. The eucalyptus is giving this nice camphorous brightness. And then I'm feeling the warmer kind of hay notes under that. And then next, this one's still in stock at Lucky Scent and Javoy. It's Porte Sa Peau. Porte, it's a verb, er is pronounced a, means to wear, and Sa Peau is your skin. Has a lovely pink bottle. This one I was afraid I wouldn't like or wouldn't find a need for. Reading reviews, a lot of people saying it's vintage, smells like Chanel No. 5. And I can see the relation, but I think if I bought this, it wouldn't be redundant with my Chanels. Yeah, the beginning is aldehydic a little bit, but not in the same way. I don't get cold aldehydes the way Chanel does. I get more bright fizziness, but a little more warmth underneath right from the start. I think it's interesting because I think Rodrigo Flores, the perfumer's style, is usually very likable. I think there's always kind of a brightness, a clarity. I think it's interesting in a project where clearly the creative director favors kind of like complexity and a murkiness and like a natural kind of stinkiness or muskiness. Pushing the perfumer Flores Rue in that direction is an interesting balance, because I think it balances it and makes this probably the easiest wear out of all of them. I have worn all of these a couple times other than right now, and I remember the musky dry down of this being really beautiful and not at all like the dry downs of Chanel, so that's where it really separates itself. It cites Indolic Narcissus, and yeah, I get that. Narcissus always makes me think of purple for some reason, like a dark purple floral component and salty and malic base, and I do get that from the start, a little bit of a saltiness. So in general, I cite this perfume a lot, and it's not the same, but Musc de Sable, again, that kind of musky dry down. I think that one's a little more furry, and this one's a little more bright, a little more pink like the bottle, this one. I'm very tempted by this to get Porte Sa Peau as well. I just remember I wore it one evening, and through the night, just the musky late dry down was just really beautiful. But yeah, not if we're thinking of kind of farm nature scenes, if Oeilleres is kind of like at dusk horse stables, I'm thinking like fall, like golden wheat fields, then this feels more like a bright crisp morning, and maybe spring morning flowers are in bloom. So that takes us to Rauque, and a true unboxing. I received this a couple days ago and decided I would actually unbox on camera, so hopefully this isn't too loud. I wore this several times because I was going back and forth. I think instantly the fact that it's done by Sheldrake, and Sheldrake doesn't do a lot of work, at least that I know of, outside of his work for Serge Lutens, instantly made me just want to blind buy this. But then I took my time, I tried it, and I've said before, I don't like super animalic bases. I don't like stinky bases like BO, cuminy, sweaty. I don't like kind of, fecal, animalic, barnyardy. I can take a little bit, and also kind of amber perfumes. It's maybe my least favorite overall genre. And this is kind of all of those things. But it's really beautiful. I'd say the beginning is great. You can smell blackcurrant. Ooh, almost lost the bottle. Blackcurrant gives a real fresh juiciness to the intro. And holy cow, that bottle is beautiful in person. But then as that dries down, I think the mid becomes quite animalic, but again, not what I would describe as stinky, more a little bit like dank or furry, like somebody has like a real leather fur carpet, and it's old and it's a little bit musty. They cite blackcurrant, I definitely get, and violet, both kind of adding this purple freshness in the beginning. They cite this mushroom pharmacord, which is extremely interesting. I wouldn't say I ever got anything that reminded me of mushrooms, but there is that kind of dank basementy effect to it, but I think if I hadn't read that, I wouldn't be thinking mushrooms when I smelled it. But anyway, I would say the mid is the most animalic. The opening is like 100% love for me. There's no question about how much I like the opening. The mid, there's like a few hours where it leans more into the animalic, leathery, furry, again, kind of horse stably, which is why I find it having some things in common with Oeilleres. But as that fades, you get kind of a long, drawn-out, ambery, warm, slightly vanillic, slightly sweet ending. Now, not sweet compared to, modern-day designer sweet tooth, but just sweet as in it's yummy almost. Yeah, I don't know. Yummy sounds wrong too, because it's not really that, but round warmth. It's no longer animalic or challenging. Now, one of the listed, it's interesting, I believe in Porte Sao Peau, they list the much maligned Akigalwood, maligned by myself because the Akigalwood bombs that Quinton Biche has made really annoy the crap out of me. But I never got that. It never bothered me, but it might be adding to that long, musky dry down. And this cites an aroma chemical called amberome, which I looked up. And it says, a powerful ambergris note with warm, leathery scent, hints of pepper, tar, coffee, light tobacco. And I think that does a great job of describing a lot of what the base, and that's one of the things I struggled with. I was like, is this base kind of too singular? Is it just this amberome droning on? What's interesting is it says it's a labdanum extract. So it comes from labdanum, but kind of zooms in on some of the more animalic aspects. And I think that's why in the end I do like this perfume. I love skanky plants, animalics that come from florals, that come from grass, that come from oud, that come from trees. Those I can handle, those I love. But true animalics coming from animals or recreations of those civet, castoreum, hyrax, even a drop of those usually really turns me off a perfume. So this is coming, the skankiness is coming from a particular facet of labdanum. So I've worn it a few times. I'll give it the first spray out of the bottle. It's very strong, and I have to say, I think given these gorgeous custom bottles, the limited release nature, the price, it's really not bad. $250 USD. This one almost feels like an X-ray. One spray will do ya. I'm not wearing anything else today. Or should we do it on camera? I hope I don't smell too funky. I'll do one on the shirt. Oh yeah. At Lucky Scent, I remember when I tried it, first spray, I was like, ooh, should I buy it? And I gotta admit, the person turned away, and I took the opportunity to spray it down my collar and on my arm, because that was my one mission that day, just to try this. And I was kind of museum hopping throughout the day thinking, oh, I smell like a dirty horse stable. Maybe not a dirty horse stable. It's more like, it's more leathery. It's like saddle leather, like you're in a horse stable sniffing a well-used saddle. Yeah, it's really lovely, really leathery, old leather. I'm trying to think of what, I think all of these have a vintage feel to them. So if you are a fan of vintage fragrances, very much worth trying out. Trying to think of what vintage leather, almost Eau d'Hermès if it was not so light and airy. Eau d'Hermès if it was like an X-ray instead of a eau de toilette. But I can't get over how beautiful this bottle is. It looks kind of just like vintage on the pictures, but in real life, gorgeous. Comes with this nice booklet also about his work, little images, pulled out images. So yeah, I really appreciate this project. I'm a musician. I've never done crossover into fragrance, but I've always kind of had a foot in the art world. And I think it's really cool when an artist from another medium pulls off really successfully something like this. I think the secret is he employed some of the best perfumers living today. He didn't try to do it himself like a lot of artists try to make their own music and it ends up not so good. But I mean, Sheldrake, you can't go wrong with Sheldrake. So that's my review. Maybe after I wear it several more times, I can post a more thorough review, but I can't really think of anything else to say right now. But aside from Porte Saint Peau, yeah, really reminding me of like farm life, but not that challenging. A little bit, but I'd say it's like kind of right in the middle of like difficult, unwearable art perfume and like very easy to wear, dumb reach kind of perfume. It's kind of smack in the middle. I wouldn't call any of these art perfumes that aren't to be worn, that are so challenging you have to wear it by yourself. Not at all to me. And by far the easiest to wear for me, unless you really struggle with kind of pink aldehydic, floral, musky, ambergris stuff, is Porte Saint Peau, and I'm still kind of tempted to grab this before it's gone. So there you go. Let me know if you've heard of this, if you've tried this. I'd love to hear what other people are thinking about these perfumes. And that's all for now. Bye. A quick addendum with a view of the NYC skyline. Now that I wore the fragrance all day, I really enjoyed it. It's a really beautiful fragrance, very warm and comforting in the dry down, and it lasts forever. I really feel like it's all about the narcissus wrapped in amber, or amber wrapped in narcissus. And it's always just teetering at the edge of being animalic, but never gets too animalic or too skanky. It always has this warmth and this roundness that invokes, like I said before, horse stables and leather. It doesn't smell anything like Eau d'Hermes. It doesn't have any cumin armpit skank, but it does remind me the way that Eau d'Hermes balances this fresh brightness with something just purring underneath, and also the sort of horsey, stable connotations that Eau d'Hermes brings to mind, which makes sense given Hermes's heritage in horse riding gear. But I really loved the wear today, and no regrets buying it. Highly recommend checking it out. And I was thinking about the sweet aspect as well. It's really more like the way when you reduce something, like you reduce wine all the way down until it becomes syrupy. It almost has this like chewiness of something that's been reduced until hints of sweetness come out of otherwise not sweet material. But anyway, beautiful fragrance, just perfectly balanced all these elements, and it actually hung on to the kind of blackcurrant freshness for quite a while. Sheldrake is known for his kind of stewed fruits, and I never quite get fruits, but I think again the metaphor of a blackcurrant, like a blackcurrant juice that's been boiled down to its sticky, sappy sweetness. And I really appreciated the way that sticks around for quite a while, providing a nice counterbalance to the kind of earthier, darker, stankier elements of the fragrance. Highly recommend. Now I'm gonna go home.